Good evening, welcome to the inaugural 48 Shades of Football podcast. I'm Paul, and tonight I've got two guests with me. I've got Steve W, who's the inaugural Eland FC, Seoul Eland FC foreign fan.
Good evening, nice to be here. So sitting opposite me we've got Mark, who happens to be, I think, a part-time Songnam fan, a part-time FC Seoul fan, and a full-time anyone but Suwon fan. And he's also going to be full-time unemployed tomorrow morning when his boss finds out that we're recording this in his office.
Thank you, Stevie. On my left I have Paul. Paul is the founder member of the very inclusive Diablos FC Seoul Foreigner Supporters Association fan club group. FC Seoul Diablos have had more names than Chadari has scored goals. But anyway, this is Paul, and Paul will be the main host for tonight's show.
Okay, welcome all tonight. We actually gathered together a couple of hours ago to plan this, and the planning took longer than we thought, so we had a few more beers than we thought, so the quality might be a bit less than we were expecting today, but give us a break and hopefully we'll do better in the future.
I'm sure it will still be the best K-League English podcast on the internet.
Perhaps.
Probably the only one. Could be the only.
So obviously the K-League season hasn't started yet. It's going to start this weekend. So up to now, those of us looking for our football fix have been relying on the Champions League, Asian Champions League.
Yep.
This year we had a full round of matches, 4 Korean teams involved, and between us we've covered most of them, I think. So I think we'll start with a bit of a review about how they all went for the Korean teams. Mark, did you get to see any of the matches?
I got to see the first half of Jeonbuk versus Shandong, and then I was at Tancheon for Songnam's glorious victory over Gamba, and then last night I went to FC Seoul to see Seoul versus
Seoul's glorious victory.
Seoul's glorious victory over Kamashina Antlers, who did look like deers in headlights for most of the game, to be perfectly honest. Stevie, what about you? Do you go to make any games?
I went down to Tancheon for the Songnam game. I didn't see any of the Jeonbuk match, but it looked like a damn good result. So well done to Jeonbuk on that one. Songnam game was pretty good. Football wise, it'd probably get football stopped, but result wise, you can't really fault it. A good result for Songnam, especially after that less than special result in Thailand, shall we say.
That was a pretty poor one, yeah.
But no, I thought Songnam did really quite well. It was more about nullifying the opposition than any fancy football, but Songnam looked pretty good. The new guy, the Brazilian guy up front,
Ricardo,
looked pretty good. Was it number 11, your new signing, whatever his name is, one of the Brazilians?
His name is, so far he's had like 3 names. Like he's had Ricardo Bueno and Ricardo Bueno or something. I loved how the Songnam fans, like last year, they had Balbadia, and they managed to get his name wrong in the first game and called him Balbadia. And this time they tried everything they could to get Ricardo wrong by calling him Ricardo, and it went on for like 20 minutes. I was next to the Songnam fans who were singing. You weren't, so you wouldn't have heard them.
No, all I heard were Japanese fans for 90 minutes. They don't
quite carry across the pitch, to be honest. But it was a good result. I think they played pretty well. It's probably the best I've seen Songnam play for a few years. But Gamba were, for the Japanese champions, were a little bit kind of overrated, to be honest.
I mean, overall the Japanese teams have been quite disappointing in the first 2 rounds of the Champions League, right? Not got many points between them.
I mean, I think their best result has been at Jeonbuk, where Jeonbuk, somehow amazingly failed to beat Reysol by having like 90% possession almost. But yeah, they've had a pretty poor first 2 rounds.
Urawa Reds looked all right at Suwon, but nothing special. But they still lost in the end. At Gamba, it was really hard to tell if they're good, bad, or indifferent, because Songnam just basically set out to nullify them for the 90 minutes and did it, and Gamba offered very little in terms of an attacking force or any real goal threat. Yeah. I don't really remember any real good chances for Gamba in the whole game.
I don't think so. I mean, like every time they came forward, Songnam seemed to have like 2 men on every one of them. There was no space for them to play. I guess that's how Kim's going to play the whole season, probably. I'm not really thinking Songnam are going to be a fantastic team, but they're going to be a difficult team to beat, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
it reminded me a lot of the FA Cup final. It was a case of, defend, and see what you can snatch on the break.
Yeah.
The good thing about Tuesday night was they got the early goal, they got the penalty, and then it was just a case of, right, well, we're going to shut up shop. 90 minutes to play, we're going to get nil against. We've got one in the bag, so job done. Same as they did to FC Seoul in the cup final, 0-0, we're going to get this to penalties.
It has to be said, that has to be the most blatant penalty I've ever seen in my whole life. I mean, like, he had a foot around the guy, he had two arms around him, he was like rugby tackling him, kicking him, pushing him, pulling him, headbutting him. It was like Sucky Hall shooting a Saturday night, to be honest. It was pretty amazing. The second goal, Hwang Hee-jo, I mean, what can you say? He'd been poor all game, atrocious, actually, all game. Picked the ball up, fantastic goal. Maybe Molina could learn something from him. Paul, what about last night against FC Seoul against the Antlers? What did you think of last night?
Obviously, last year, Seoul were very defensive, very negative, and this year Trey Young-soo's come out and said, well, I'm going to play more attacking football, so he's gone switched from the three-back system.
When's he going to start that one?
Well, he started in the first game when they scored 7 goals, and obviously they've decided to rein it back in a little bit, but he switched from the three-back system to regular back four in the aim of being more attacking, but yes, based on yesterday's evidence, I couldn't really see much difference.
The attacking threat at Seoul seems to be give the ball to Chaduri and let him run. That seems to be the strategy at the minute.
But what people don't realise is that the FC Seoul's Chaduri and Korea's Chaduri are two completely different people. And the whole, Chaduri was pretty good during the Asian Cup in January, right?
Yeah.
And people were saying at the time, well, so why wasn't he in the World Cup squad? But based on the Chowdhury that played the first half of last year's K-League system, I wouldn't have picked him for World Cup squad either because he was pretty useless.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I kind of partly agree. I mean, as a Celtic fan, I saw Chowdhury in his prime. No, but seriously. I saw Chowdhury score an amazing goal against St Johnstone and an incredibly own goal against Rennes in France. But I think Cha has always been kind of consistently Cha. I think that's all we can say about Cha, to be honest. But I think he seems to be the focal point this year, purely because he is the only FC Seoul player who will continually attack, I think.
Wait. Isn't Cha the original sign an Asian and sell shirts? Even in Seoul. They've signed him just as a marketing ploy.
Oh, of course he is, yeah. Of course he is.
He's got, on his football ability, he shouldn't be in the Seoul team, but because he's got the ability to sell shirts and get people in the gates, that's why they've signed him. That's why they've extended his contract by a year.
I mean, but do you think, is there anyone else in the Seoul team that could actually replace Cha in terms of attacking?
Yes, last year they had Cheojin, right? And I'm going to come out up front and say I've liked Cheojin for the last 4 years, so I might be slightly biased, but I would pick Cheojin over Chowdhury any day of the week.
I think Cha's a name. I think that's why Seoul have him.
Yeah.
I think the idea is that Cha is like the name, and I think Seoul, after losing Dehan, Hadisa, the son, what his name was, I think they had to have a name, and I think Cha is taking over the role of the name.
He's definitely a name, but he's in the national team as well, so you got to say, in terms of fullbacks who could be playing in the K-League, he must be up there. I think the thing about Cha is always, going forward, he's amazing. Defensively, he's a nightmare. And if you rely on him to be a fullback in a back four, then he's going to always be caught out because he's always going to be up in the opposition penalty box rather than back in his own.
Well, defensively he's not too bad, but the problem is once he goes up, he's very slow to get back. So, yeah.
Definitely.
Whereas,
but, for somebody that started life as was a centre forward, come right winger, come right midfielder, and then got dropped back to right back, he's probably doing not bad as a defender.
So his final season will be his goalkeeper then, yeah? I guess that's what we're looking at.
Probably.
I think, Seoul did well last night to actually not lose, I think. Antlers played pretty well for a half. It was really cold. Seoul did well, they got the result. And I think, there's only one team left who could possibly throw it all away for Korean teams, maximum 12 points, and that fell to Suwon. And, Suwon. Suwon lost 1-0 to Beijing Goyan, with Dehan scoring an amazing Dehan header.
so you got 2 points out of this game, right? Firstly, when Dayan was in the K League playing for Seoul, they always said, "Oh, he doesn't play well against Suwon," and I think yesterday he proved that's probably not true by scoring the winning goal. But also, as a Seoul fan, a couple of years ago when Suwon were in the Champions League and they lost 6-2 to Kashiwa Reysol at home, and I think if you've lost 6-2,
on your face,
yes, you did. Yes,
if you've lost 6-2,
we all heard that smile.
if you've lost 6-2 at home to a Japanese team who this year are doing particularly poorly, to go away to China and just lose 1-0 is probably a decent result, is it not?
I think it might have been. Yeah, I mean, I think
It's probably a better result than going to Thailand and losing. That's for sure.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I think after Suwon coming back from 1-0 down against Urawa Reds, probably people thought they would get more in China. I think losing 1-0 was a pretty disappointing result for them. Dayan scoring a goal was particularly pleasing for a part-time Songnam, part-time Suwon, anyone but Suwon fan.
Part-time Suwon.
I think I messed it up there, didn't I? Yeah, I think I messed that one up there.
That's on tape. I think
That's
we've
on
got
tape
that.
as well.
You've come out as a
Yeah,
part-time
I did.
Suwon fan.
Hey, I've come out all
Right,
night.
get him out now.
But anyway, anyone but Suwon, full-time fan.
I think the thing about the Asian Champions League though is that the results always seem a bit weird when they start. It's like, Jeonbuk one week they're drawing 0-0, next week they're going away from home and smashing the Chinese guys 4-1. You never really know what's going to happen until you actually get to the business end of it.
Yeah.
It seems like the results are up and down for every team, so you don't know what's going to happen.
I mean, generally speaking, if you think about the three big Asian teams, right, you would expect on a national basis Japan to be strongest, Korea to be second, China to be third.
You would think so, yeah.
But in Champions League terms, it's kind of reversed, with China being most successful, Korea in the middle, and Japan.
Yeah.
But they've been pretty pathetic so far in terms of the performance of their teams, right?
I mean, the teams have been pretty poor. I mean, I think Stevie, having been to like 2 games against Japanese teams like myself, I've been to 3 actually. But I think like their teams have been pretty poor. Like the performances have been kind of lackluster. But their fans have been definitely something to be impressed by, I think.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, certainly given the performance that was on the field on Tuesday night, the Osaka fans were just, for 90 minutes, bouncing and cheering and shouting and clapping. 1-0 down, 0-0, 2-0 down, 2-0 down with 2 minutes to go, and they were still giving it full pelt. You can't really fault, the Japanese fans there was probably 250 there on Tuesday night, something like that. And I was sitting right next to them, but they outsang, what was it, 7,000 Songnam fans? 7,000 Songnam fans. I think I heard them for maybe 2 or 3 minutes the whole game. There was a cluster away in the far corner. You could just about hear them. But the Osaka fans were amazing for 90 minutes of just constant. Given what they were watching on the pitch, just 90 minutes of constant.
I heard there's a bit of an aggro at the Songnam Gamba match with sort of fans fighting or fans. There was
a bit of handbags at the end. I mean, it was out of 7,000, there was probably 6 or 7 people. I was over in that corner. I think there was a couple of the Songnam fans kind of went over. Now, whether they went over to goad them or whether they went over just to take some pictures and wave at them, I'm not sure if that was what they were there to do. But I think there was words exchanged backwards and forwards between the Songnam fans and the Gamba fans. Probably a few words that, not speaking Japanese or Korean very well, I didn't understand. But I think that it was probably 6 or 7 people. The police stepped in and said, "Away home and away home to your mother and don't bother us anymore."
I was surprised actually at the Suwon Urawa game. I thought there'd be a lot of trouble there. Both fans have kind of like reputation for being a little bit kind of more ultra or more like kind of like different in their views. But that game passed pretty like reasonably quiet. About the Japanese fans, I completely agree with Steve. Like, I mean, at Urawa, when I first walked in the stadium, there was this huge band of like red on my left hand side, but they were really quiet. And then just like about a minute before kickoff, they just started singing and bouncing, and it never stopped. I mean, it went on for like 90 plus minutes. And as I was leaving the stadium, even after Suwon had come back in 1-2-1, as I was leaving the stadium, all you could hear was the Urawa fans like singing and like I think Japanese teams have been pretty poor. Japanese fans have maybe given Korean fans something to think about in terms of how you support your team.
Well, I think on the field it was a pretty clear victory for Korea, but off the field, I think the Japanese certainly showed them, for such small numbers of fans, I think it showed them what you can do with that.
I'm always curious about. Obviously, I've been overseas with FC Seoul 3 times now, and obviously when we go there, it's people travelling from Korea is relatively few, and they kind of rope in whatever Koreans living in the area to come along to watch the matches to try and create the impression of being a lot of fans. So I'm wondering when other teams come to Seoul or come to Korea, are the fans that are there, are they really hardcore Gamba Osaka fans, hardcore Urawa fans, or they just happen to be Japanese living in Korea? I don't know if you have any
I think
thoughts about
for me, they haven't watched there are 3 teams. They haven't watched live 3 teams. We haven't watched Urawa, Gamba, and last night watching Kashima. I think it didn't look like there was a section in the middle bouncing and singing. It looked like the whole section was singing. It looked like the whole section was moving up and down in unison. Like they all knew what to do. So it's not like that when you watch maybe for example the Korean national team and some people in the middle were singing. Maybe any national team, some people are singing and the ones on the outside are not singing or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like every single, especially with Urawa and with Gamba, every single fan seemed to be singing at the exact same time, the exact same song, and knew the song.
It was very well coordinated, so
Yeah.
if it wasn't guys who go there every week, it was well planned. They've obviously put a few hours in the pub beforehand planning what they would do.
Because in 2013, when Guangzhou came to Seoul for the Champions League final first leg, obviously we know they gave a lot of free tickets, free shirts to Chinese living in Seoul to get them to come along. So,
but I think that's the other thing as well. You can usually tell when they're shipping the fans in, they've all got the standard issue shirt or the standard issue thing to clap or the standard issue noisemaker. These guys, well, certainly the Gamba guys, I saw a few of them on the subway on the way home, and they had the 2-year-old shirt and the 5-year-old scarf. So to me, they look like genuine fans anyway.
I mean, the best example of this is last year. I went to Sydney for the Champions League semi-final, and I think about 10, maybe 15 people travelled from Seoul, and of course they had a lot of Koreans living in Sydney, so they invited them along to the match, and we went there an hour before the game. We had to sort of educate them about, right, we're not going to sing Arirang, we're not going to sing Korean sort of Pilsun Korea kind of songs, we're not going to do any of that. FC Seoul have their own chants, and these are what they are, and we picked sort of 3 of the basic ones, said this is what you've got to do, and then we sort of led them through that. So I always wonder from other countries if they have the same kind of issues or whether they've got more fans who are willing to travel abroad.
I mean, from my experience on Tuesday night, I think the issue was probably the other side. I think Songnam had probably given 3,000 or 4,000 free tickets to people who'd never been to a football match in their life.
I would have to agree with reluctantly, but I would have to agree with Stephen there. Behind me, just as I was cracking open my second beer, some little kid came in with his entourage of little followers, and as they sat down, maybe 3 minutes into the game, he stood up and started singing Busan Korea, or whatever the song actually. I don't actually know the song, to be honest, and I was kind of met with a lot of derision from the Songnam fans around me. As I think, why are you singing that? I think there was a lot of those tickets were maybe not total full Songnam FC fans, whatever that constitutes, whatever that term actually means. I'm not sure.
People not like yourself.
People not like myself, yeah. I mean, people who go through the tough and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think there was a lot of fans who maybe had never really kind of been there before. Unfortunately, Seoul didn't have the same marketing technique, and that's why there was only 5,000 fans there last night.
Right. Well, the Seoul marketing technique for this game was to go on Facebook and say, it's very
too cold
tonight, please don't come.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Please, we have no heating in the stadium. But but I think, I mean, that's the kind of, I mean, it's been a successful week, I think, for Korean teams. Far better than last week. I mean, 9 points out of 12 is far better than 4. And
So what's your thoughts? Do you think you get 4 teams through to the next round?
I think John Book could only blow it to get through. I cannot imagine how John Book cannot get through. They're the easiest group. Suwon at home, I think, are going to be unbeatable, to be honest. So I would say Suwon are through.
Seoul are in a group of death, right? With Seoul
was by far the
the
toughest
previous year's winners. So
Yeah. I mean, Seoul were in the group with the two teams who have actually stopped them winning it
Yeah.
the last 2 years in a row. I think Seoul are the toughest group. Songnam, it depends on what Songnam turn up. If it's like the Songnam of Tuesday or the Songnam of last Tuesday, it depends.
It's the black shirts, isn't it? If they wear the black shirts, they'll be fine. If they wear that
That
white
kind of
stripy thing,
like 1950s Celtic top, they're going to get knocked out. Yeah. Personally, I think I don't think all four will get through. I think John Book will. I think Suwon will, and it'll be a toss up between Seoul and Songnam.
both of them could, both of them might not.
Yeah,
One of
basically,
them
yeah.
could. We have to wait and see how it goes.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
So-
I think John Book and Suwon definitely. Other two, not so much.
So what you're saying at the moment is that on our very first podcast, 4 of them could go through, 2 of them could go through. Check back in a month and you'll have a more definitive answer.
Basically, yeah. Take it back after round 4.
That's the kind. I think that's the kind of definitive answer you can expect from this podcast going forward. Is yes, they could, or no, they won't, or maybe they will, but we don't know.
We don't know. Yeah, basically, yeah. We're kind of unsure, but we're sure, but we're not. But we are.
Ask us after the games are played, and we'll tell you.
We'll tell you then. Yeah.
For me, the interesting thing is that the last game of the group stage for Songnam and Seoul, they're both going to be away in Japan.
Yes.
It's a public holiday in Korea,
Yes.
presumably a public holiday in Japan as well.
Yes. Hopefully, yes.
So therefore, we should see. Obviously, the normal response for Korean fans is, "Oh, I can't get time off work to go abroad to whatever." So if it's a
they'll
public
need a new excuse this time.
if it's a public holiday, we should
Flights are too
see
expensive.
the true sort of away
I'd
travel
imagine that what
potential.
will happen is 3 or 4 days before, so the FC Seoul Facebook account will be saying, apparently Japan is really dangerous and is really cold and you shouldn't go there. And
Well-
Koreans can't go to Japan anymore, so just burn your passport.
Remember.
I know a lot of FC Seoul fans have already booked their flights to Japan for May.
I mean, I think I will be at both games anyway. So hopefully
probably
you
be
will,
at both
Paul. Hopefully
games.
Steve, you will be as
And
well.
hopefully Steve will be convinced to go to at least one of them.
I'll see if Eland are doing an away game that
And
day.
at the very least, we'll have a couple of drinks in Roppongi and take it from there. Yeah.
I think, yeah. So the basic conclusion is that you think so far Japanese fans are better than Korean fans, but I think we're looking at this from a point of view where Japanese away fans have been coming to Korea and cheering on their team. And I know, Mark, you're planning to go to Japan in May.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I'm going to go with you. So I think at that point we can revisit this and say, well, the Korean fans have been to Japan. How were they? Were they as enthusiastic? So we'll revisit this
It'll be
in
interesting to
2
see
months.
how much noise
Sounds good, yeah.
you two create in Japan, because I think it'll only be the 2 of you there.
I mean, I've been to a couple of Asian Champions League away matches, and the atmosphere is completely different according to where it is. Japan's
Yeah.
quite close; it's easy for Korean fans to go to, so I think there'll be a good atmosphere there.
And generally the away fans do better.
I
terms
think
of
I
atmosphere.
think it's definitely a kind of nationalistic point of view where you go abroad and you think, well, I'm Korean, I'm going to go for this, but yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
So up to now, the only live football we've seen this year is Asian Champions League, but this weekend the
No, I had a K3 friendly. Another Korean Japanese magic game.
Right, I'm setting my stopwatch. You've got 30 seconds to go. 30
How was
seconds.
it? How was it? Quick.
How was it? It was dreadful.
Fantastic. Okay.
As most K3 games are.
20 seconds.
The Japanese destroyed them in the second half.
15
And
seconds.
the most interesting thing was probably that the Liberian guy, K3 League this year is now allowing foreigners to sign for them. The Liberian guy who signed for Seoul United didn't get a single minute on the field. I'm starting to think he
Fantastic.
might be a Nigerian scammer.
Time. Maybe we'll get this guy, the Liberian
We'll
guy.
have to try and get him on the
Yeah.
show and see
Definitely,
if he's actually
definitely.
a football player.
See how he ended up here. See what he's planning to do here.
I'm sure he's nothing else to do on Monday night.
Until that day comes, no more talk of K3.
Are we going to talk about the boring K-League Classic then?
I guess that's up next, yeah. Paul, what's
mean-
up next?
That's going to start this weekend. Got a full program of fixtures. So I think we're going to start with the important points of this year's K-League Classic. Who's got a new kit and which ones do you like?
Well, I think obviously probably the biggest talking point of the new kit has to be Songnam's all black number. Having had yellow in their kit for as long as I remember, and even longer than I remember, because Soju takes effect on my brain cells.
You don't remember last year then?
I don't remember, yeah. They were still yellow last year at some point. But they went this year with an all black kit. Kind of based on the fact that the YF boys and the YRU boys and those two groups that don't like each other but actually form together at away games wear black as their polo shirts and t-shirts. I think that's why Songnam went for all black this year. For me, it looks kind of smart, a little bit like a polo shirt at times, but yeah, I mean, it's better than what I think is the cigarette paper box packet that is Seoul's away shirt. Paul, what do you think of Seoul's away shirt?
It does look like a cigarette box.
It does. Okay, Stevie.
The face you're looking for is the most dreadful shirt
ever.
What I noticed at this week's Champions League match is that obviously Seoul play red and black. We remember from last year Sydney playing red and black.
Yes, that's correct, yes.
Guangzhou playing a kind of red with a dark red.
Red and dark red, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And looking at the away fans in the Kashima,
They were also red as well.
They were also red and black, right?
Well,
So-
red, at least then.
So up to now, people have been saying this is the Asian Champions League group of death, but actually it's the red and black group.
Group
right?
of death, I think
Everybody's
so, yeah.
playing the same basic kit. Yesterday, Kashima were playing in white. As far as I remember, Sydney away strip is white.
I think so, yeah.
Obviously, this year's Seoul away strip is white. It just remains to see what Guangzhou wear away.
Well, that's very interesting. So we have like a team of red and black and a team of white away as well, yeah?
Yeah. So basically,
So maybe that's why Seoul have a cigarette packet away top, because like
because they're going to go for
currently
for Lucky 7.
well, actually currently because the football has an Asian section on it, to be perfectly honest.
Which
But anyway.
if they go for Lucky 7.
What is the deal with Seoul? Is there some kind of agreement that they can't have a nice looking strip?
Well, I mean, like, how much
last
can
year's
you
away strip was
actually
quite good, right?
bastardise an AC Milan top, to be perfectly honest, you know what I mean? There's like not much else you can do, yeah? I think personally, like, my own personal horrendous favourite, if that's a word or an expression, has to be the Go Orange, Go Happy, or whatever they're called, Jeju top.
Don't be slagging off
Which
Jeju now.
has
Don't be
like,
slagging off
I mean,
Jeju.
the actual top itself is quite kind of smart as a collar, I think, what I remember. It's kind of orange, which is not my favourite colour, but anyway. But it looks like an F1 driver's top. There's so many like sponsors like SK and Jeju and whoever they're owned by this week. And I think it's just that it looks really horrendous, and that's, to be honest, that's my ultimate least favourite K-League
I
classic.
think you've
top.
just got something against the colour orange, Mark. I can't think why, but...
Can't imagine, Steve, can't imagine. Yeah, it's like you and red, yes, you and red.
One thing about Jeju, it might not be the best looking top, but it was certainly the cheapest. You know, the deal that we were offering before the new year, you could get a uniform and a season ticket for 40,000 won. So you can't really fault that. And if there aren't at least 15,000 people turning up to Jeju games this year, they should give in and go back to Bucheon, I think, is the only thing they can do.
Well, that might bring us on
Hopefully,
to
hopefully
the...
FC Seoul will go back to Anyang at the same time as well.
Well, that might bring us on to the Jeju catchphrase, which will be later on, but yeah, definitely. I think Jeju, I mean, I don't really understand Jeju at all, to be honest. But anyway, let's move on.
It's an island, it's close to Korea.
I don't know where it is, I don't know why it's a football team.
It's a
I
bunch
think
of
the
people
other...
that want to get this vitamin C in, right, with their
I think-
oranges and...
I think that the other team that I didn't really quite get this year was Incheon United's top. I mean, they have a very, very simple, like, blue and black, yeah, like a kind of like Inter Milan number. But again, they seem to, like, bring out some kind of strange, like, top that didn't really look very, very cool either.
I think that was just because Lee Chun-soo was wearing it, though.
Could have been, and also So Ki-hyun was actually in the photograph as well when he is now
And then
since
he probably
resigned.
retired.
Probably because of the top, to be honest, nothing else.
He didn't look very happy in the photos, so that would explain it.
Has he ever looked happy, to be honest? Like, he's always listening to Lee Chun-soo, who's like, obviously, like... I mean, the thing about Lee Chun-soo, I think it makes sense that Lee Chun-soo plays for Incheon, because the guy has brought a lot of black and blue to the K-League. Ha ha ha. Anyway, other tops that have been impressive. Yep, I ran out of ideas there. But Pohang was quite smart. Pohang was
I'm going
quite
to say
smart.
time out. Surely you've got to say that Seoul's top is impressive because they've gone with what they had last year. Well, every other team has been pushing the marketing of selling more shirts. Seoul has said, well, we're going to stick with what we had last year. Even in
So
the
you're praising Seoul for a lack of creativity, is that what you're saying?
even the money-grubbing EPL, they only change shirts normally once every 2 years, right? Whereas in the K-League, Suwon, Chonbuk, Incheon, they've all changed every year.
Yeah,
So
that's an
for
interesting
Seoul,
point.
for Seoul to stick with the same shirt for 2 years has got to be a plus point, is it not?
It's creative or desperate, Paul. It's one of the two, yeah?
I think in terms of the best shirt, I think Songnam has got it with the black one right now.
I think
Certainly
it
the all black one, I don't think it's actually the shirt, is it? But the shirt they're wearing on the field has got black and silver, but the one they're selling to fans,
The all
has got
black one.
black on black.
So apparently
So
there's like 50
you
of
don't
them.
even know that you're a Songnam fan if you're wearing it, which I think is ideal for any Songnam fan.
Yeah, apparently there's like 50 all black Songnam shirts. They went on sale before the Gamba game. They'll be on sale on the final game of the season as well, apparently. One top I do like, or maybe I don't like, was also the Suwon top. I like the way that Suwon incorporated a Chav-esque necklace at the top of their shirt. I don't know if you've seen this.
Is it just budget Chelsea again?
But they actually have like a little kind of like a silver chain that goes around the top of their Songnam, their Suwon top.
But I think if Paul's going to claim that Seoul are spectacular for not having released a new shirt, I think Seoul Eland FC's probably got the prize for not having released a shirt
At all,
Right?
yes.
With 2 weeks to go until the season starts in the K2,
But-
they've actually not actually decided that they're going to have a uniform.
I mean, have you not heard it? I understood that you were well on the inside track with Seoul Elan FC. Have you not got any hint about what their shirt's going to be?
I heard it was going to be a shirt with colours.
I heard it was going to be a Man City top with a Eland across the top of Man City.
the one that we've seen so far, it was a light blue Man City-esque shirt,
Yeah.
which apparently was the training shirt.
Just
And there's
please.
going to be another one which is released
It's going to be
in
a
in
Man
couple
U
of
red
weeks,
top.
because obviously, you know, when you're trying to connect to your fans and you want to be the team in Korea that's doing marketing properly, then the time to release your shirt is a week before the season starts.
Well, they've got a friendly in America. Is it this week?
They got friendly in America this weekend, I think.
Tomorrow, I think it's,
No, at night.
Saturday.
And then I heard they've also got a friendly against the under-22 Korean national team coming up.
So
really?
are they going to be wearing their sort of
So they'll be. I think they'll be wearing the sky blue
practice shirts?
Man
practice
City.
shirts. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're saving the real stuff for the big kickoff.
I mean, I did take them, 6 months to come up with a badge that was the exact same as the badge that Elan Group have. So I imagine the top will be about as
Well, it took them 3 months to
inventive
go.
as that.
Wait. I got something to say about the Eland badge.
It's horrendous.
No.
The badge is beautiful.
It's got meaning, right? It's
It's got cheetahs on it
It's
in
got
memory
cheetahs.
of the cheetahs that the other Seoul team
So,
killed.
wait. If you take the badge as 4 quarters, right?
Which you do, obviously.
Which you
do.
do.
As a football fan, obviously you do, yeah.
You got cheeses on the left.
Of course, yes.
You got Namsan
On the right,
and Hangang.
on the,
Han
on the
River.
bottom right. Yeah.
So what you're saying is a team which is above the Han River to the left of Namsan is the best team in Korea. So
I'm trying to think, where
Can
is Anyang in relation to the Han River?
below.
Yeah,
Can
quite
you,
far.
can you think of any team which is above Hangang and to the left of Namsan?
Songnam. So anyway, let's move on.
Songnam.
So
Sangam.
let's move on.
Did you say Sangam?
Goyang.
So guys,
Aye.
Haju.
so I think obviously uniforms this year have been pretty amazing, like pretty spectacular. Songnam done well with the all black, although why we don't know. Jeju done terribly with the F1 top, too many sponsors.
Nobody's really come up with a real stinker, have they?
Well, Jeonnam
There's a
haven't
few
done this
not
yet.
very nice ones, but
Yeah, Jeonnam haven't done this yet, but that's because Jeonnam don't have a purpose. But anyway, I think it's a couple of good tops and so on. I think the next most important thing obviously has to be Not the Brazilian striker that you sign, but it has to be the catchphrase.
The most important point for any K-League team. You've
It
got
has to be a
you've got to
catchphrase.
have a good catchphrase. If you don't have a good catchphrase, you might as well go home.
So I think, Paul, you're going to leave this one. You're going to like.
Obviously, we've got a forum where we all check in with up-to-date football news, and our guru Hurley Joe's been keeping us up to date with the most recent catchphrase for each team, and he's come up with a couple of doozies. So we've got.
I think everyone's favourite has to be. We have a few. We have a few to talk about.
We've got a
I think
few.
we have some like kind of simple ones, like my team Ulsan.
There's a few that people have obviously put no effort into, and my team
Ulsan
is
would be
the
one of
obvious
those
one.
ones. Yes.
I understand that my team Ulsan was the victor in a vote out of 7 or 8 different.
It was as well.
I
It was like.
think
So-
the one thing we can establish from all of these votes for fans, as we've seen from Seoul Eland FC, as we see from my team Ulsan, the one thing you don't want to do is ask the fans
What
they
should
want.
do that?
I agree with that.
Apparently, I'm not sure, but apparently the options for my team Ulsan were either my team Ulsan, Ulsan my team Ulsan my, or my Ulsan team. I'm not sure if that's actually correct or not, but anyway.
I think the one that lost was how much are we paying Jeparov?
Why are we playing Jeopardy? Actually, was the one that lost, I think. But anyway, we also have Sangju, which is like a very, very important and very, very motivational catches with Begin Again Sangju. Otherwise known as like, we were crap last year, and this year we can't be any
Well,
worse.
it's kind of appropriate for Sangju because every 2 years they actually do begin again because they've got a whole new bunch of players.
It's not because they got a whole bunch of, because they're like they're the ultimate K-League yo-yo team, right? Up, down, up, down, up, down.
Yeah.
They're awful.
So we assume they're going to be promoted this year with.
Well, no, they've got a challenge this year. So
But
this
it's
year
got-
might be the year where they don't begin again.
So you think Eland are going to usurp Sangju for the.
Well, I guess we'll talk about K2 when the season starts.
The
but
season starts,
Probably
yeah.
K2's
if
one
it
of.
starts.
There's probably 6 or 7 teams in
They could face
K2
in the top 10.
that could
There's
be
probably
challenging.
6 or 7 teams in the K2, right?
In general, yes. In
There's
total.
probably 6 or
Of
7
which-
that could
of
be-
which 1 or
could
2
be
are
competing for the
competitive.
I
championship.
think so, yeah, I think so.
Unlike the K-League Classic where the winner is already decided and we're looking at
Of course,
who
it's
gets
going to be
who gets the
Sonam.
Champions League
It's going to be
place.
Sonam, obviously, yeah. Anyway, guys,
wait.
back to catchphrases, back to catchphrases.
All right, we'll get
So-
we'll get back to our we'll get
So-
back to who's going to win the K League in a minute.
So we have a couple of very, very good catches in the K-League. We have Sonam's incredibly inventive Pride of Sonam 2015.
I
Which
think
may have just
last year's was Pride of Songnam
2014.
2014, and the one before that
was Pride of Sonam 2013.
well, was it
so-
not actually? Well, I think we're closing it down. 2013.
Actually, 2013 was like, can we not be here anymore? But yeah, so Sonam haven't went with the best ever.
I think my
one?
favourite is the Busan one, but I never remember it. It's double D11 plus or something, isn't it?
I think, yeah, every time I think about like the Busan one, like with DSD Magic 11, I think about my ex-girlfriend. But anyway, that's another story for another time. But yeah, we have
Magic
DSD
darts.
Magic 11, which is like D for dribbling. We have actually no idea what it stands for, but we
No,
believe it
it's,
means like.
I think it just means Busan.
D
are
for
gonna be
distance.
quite
Distance.
So every Busan player should travel 11 kilometres per game.
good. Is that to get to the game, or
I think that's in general, yeah, to get to the game, yeah.
that includes travelling time?
S stands for shooting. Shooting 11 means every Busan player should have 11 shots on goal in the next 10 years, I believe. And D for goal difference, which is the funniest one, means that I think they mean minus 11, not plus 11, because they were pretty atrocious last year. But anyway, their idea is to have a goal difference of plus 11. I also want to marry Olive Girls Day next week as well. So anyway. But I think our favourite has to be Daejeon Citizens Football Club with their play, comma, together.
I thought that was Incheon.
No, it's Dejan. It's Enchon. You know what? Actually, it's someone who's irrelevant anyway.
Someone needs to be cut off the alcohol tonight.
Play together.
You know what? If you're looking for informed chat, you might want to go somewhere else.
Even if you're going to confuse them, you don't want to confuse Dejan and Inchon, right?
I think
That's going to cause fight.
I'm pretty sure Dejan's catchphrase is that seagull's going to get it.
Actually, Dejan might be new beginning. Dejan, sorry. The play together is actually Enchon, but the fact of the matter is,
You've got to get it right. It's play, comma,
together. The fact is,
Right.
no one's going to be upset because there's no Enchon fans anyway, so don't worry about it.
Wait,
we're all
we
kind of
have one
sorted out.
potential Inchon fan in our listener. Dan, if you're out there, we love you.
Yeah, Dan, we love you too, Dan. I don't even know who you are, but you follow me on Facebook today because of a ridiculous post. Anyway, but everyone's favourite, the actual best catchphrase was Chunju Hummel's catchphrase, which was "Be ambitious." Be ambitious.
With a double E.
Be with a wee because they sting you in the ass. Why be?
I think it's because they wear black and yellow shirts. They think they're bees.
Fantastic.
But aren't they one of the worst teams in the league?
Well, that's all relative, isn't it? It is the K2 after all.
Isn't Butcher on the worst team? Anyway, so what we thought was that okay, so we have like some actual catchphrases.
In terms of be ambitious, isn't that just because they want to get Dal Shabet to the games? Is that not the whole point?
Well, hopefully, yeah. In which case,
I
we'll
think,
all.
if Chunju are going to get Dal Shabet to every game to be the cheerleaders, I think we'll all be there.
Yeah, I think it'll be like 17,000 crowd. Some of the actual catchphrases, our favourite was like "Be ambitious," based on the fact that they look like bees and they are huge fans of Dal Shabet, as we all are. But we had thought about what could you actually have had as your catchphrase. Like, what could be a catchphrase that sums you up? What could be a catchphrase that like is maybe perfect for you as a team? So we chose 3 teams that we all love and admire and hugely appreciate. We chose Songnam, we chose Jeju, and we chose Jeonbuk. And the idea was like, what would the catchphrase be for those teams? So for Songnam, we went for, quite literally, with a new colour, the new idea, we went for once you go black, you never go back. As obviously, once you watch Songnam, you never watch any other
Football
game
ever
of
again.
Football.
You give on football completely?
Yes.
You just give it up. There's no point in watching it anymore.
Once you've had your free ticket, you never go back.
What's it about Songnam? You just go and watch baseball, basically, is the other version of that expression, yeah, of that slogan, yeah.
Sure.
We also had Jeju United, which we went for Happy Orange, Go Lucky, or some ridiculous version of those 4 words. Our idea was that Jeju United FC, why? Just why? Just why bother? They finished like in the maybe 4th or 5th or 6th of the year. No one goes to the stadium. It's far away. It's on an island. They don't even give away free oranges.
I think the only thing now that can save Jeju is if Ihyori starts going to the games. And if she wants to come on the podcast, she's more than welcome.
More than welcome. Or she could at least sing a song.
Is that an open invitation to Ihori? Come on the K-League podcast.
That is if Ihori happens to be listening, which I'm sure she is, please give us a call, and we're welcome to have you on as a guest anytime.
When she needs to review her career.
In person, please, will you? In person. But I think our favourite catchphrase was for Jeonbuk, which was literally like sums up Jeonbuk's dominance for now and the future in Korean
I
football.
think my suggestion was something like Champions 2025, because they're probably going to win it every year until we're all dead.
So we thought 2025 is a little bit far away, so we went for the more achievable Jeonbuk 10 in a row. Here we go.
Which will take us to 2025.
Exactly, yes. But it sounds better, yeah?
Whoa. I know you don't speak Korean that well, so you're probably not aware, but a couple of days ago there was a a report in the Korean press which said that since 2009, whichever team finishes third wins the K-League next year. And that's worked from 2009 through to last year. Therefore, may I ask you, which team finished third in the K-League last year?
Was
Songnam.
it Chonbuk? Because they're going to win it next year.
Was it Songnam?
It was not Chonbuk, it was not Songnam. Take another guess.
FC Bleeding Soul.
Yes. Therefore, this year's K-League winners will be FC Seoul because they
Oh
finished,
wow, that's a very interesting point, Paul.
they finished third last year. Since 2009, every team which has finished third has won the K-League next year.
Okay, so thanks for that rant, Paul. So we've all agreed. The
Songnam.
champions
Songnam's gonna win the
champions
league,
of the K-League will be Chonbuk.
Well, with John Book, definitely yes.
What about
wait.
relegation?
Wait.
Probably FC Soul, something along those lines. Though.
This is not how this works in the practice run-through. In the run-through,
Here's the practice run through.
we agreed that Seoul were going to be winning the league.
Oh, okay. I think what we should do is we should humour Paul and tell him that Seoul might finish fourth, but not top. I don't think.
No way. If you look at the way the Asian Champions League is sorted out this year, so as we mentioned earlier, Seoul have got a group of death.
Yeah.
Therefore, there's a fair chance they'll mess up at an early degree. Therefore, the league will be between Pohang, who are not in the Champions League, and Seoul, who are going to possibly drop out at an early stage.
I'd imagine Pohang are not going to win the Champions League, given that they're not in it.
No, that's what I said.
That would be one of the most intelligent comments, I think, Paul. To be honest.
The K-League will be won between Pohang, who are not in the Champions League, and
that
Seoul,
mean?
who are in
Sorry.
a group of death and therefore may drop out of the Champions League at an early stage.
So, Paul, the more
So-
OB I drink, the less I hear.
So what you're saying is the worse that FC Seoul do, the more likely they are to win the championship. I think that's a comment that can only come from an FC Seoul
So
fan.
far, yes. And especially if you have lost member as well.
Especially
Stop
one
the
that's-
recording, delete the last 2 minutes, let's start again.
Okay, guys, so one of the things I've been looking at in the K-League is, in terms of new transfers this season, I've been looking at it, I think most of the interesting transfers have been people leaving the K-League and going to China or going to the Middle East.
Like Escudero.
Well, that was certainly an interesting transfer. You guys were all waving him off at the airport, I think. But
Maybe.
there hasn't been a hell of a lot of really good guys coming into the league. Certainly Kevin Orris looks like an interesting signing. He might do well for Incheon, but other than that, I don't see a lot of players in the K-League Classic that we're going to be getting excited about this year. What do you guys think?
I think I would disagree there, to be honest, Stevie. I think there's a couple of transfers in that I think have been pretty interesting. I think the guy Leo at Suwon, the guy who scored the winning goal against Urawa in the Champions League game. I mean, Korean teams are prone to signing Brazilians. We know that. And 1 out of 100 are actually decent. You have Adi, and Adi, yeah. But
Wait.
sometimes
Hang on.
there's others as well.
Molina, surely.
He's not Brazilian though.
Colombian.
But I think this guy Leo, he
You got
played for
Rafael
Sion.
Costa.
Yeah, come on,
best
seriously.
Brazilian ever.
Shoot. But this guy Leo, he played for Sion for 3 seasons. His third season he was injured, so he didn't play very much. But his first 2 seasons he scored, I think it was maybe 14 first season, 15 second season, something like that. Sion's not a bad team. Swiss League's not great, but it's probably better than Korean League in comparison. So I think Leo could do something for Suwon. I think obviously as you mentioned earlier, Aura's coming back to Incheon is a pretty big signing. I think a pretty big idea. I think Evo has left, I believe, so that's kind of making Aura's the one focal point, which is not probably why he signed. The other signing I think that's been pretty big coming in is probably Anino Jeonbuk. He's come back to the club. He was pretty successful in his first stint at the club.
Well, 2 years ago there was the rumour that he would convert to Korean nationality and sign up for the national team, right?
I mean, he was MVP, if that's an American term, but whatever. He was the best player with Daejeon in the FA Cup. He was he was in Team of the Year 3 years in a row at John Book. Yeah, the guy is a good player. The guy could be a legend. The guy could be another Addy, to be honest. If he puts the ball in the back of the net, whether he will, whether he won't, you never know.
Yeah. I think that's the main thing, really, isn't it? When talking about the K-League, the guys you want to bring in are the boys who are going to put the ball in the back of the net, and it's always a bit of a gamble. They bring in Brazilians, and every 1 in 10 or 1 in 20 is actually a goal scorer. I mean, you look at Dejan last year, they get Adriano, they win the league. When you guys had Dejan, you win the league. When you get Molina and you get Escudero, you don't win the league.
We had the FCSO, we had like Rafael Costa, maybe even Rodrigo Costa, no one knows his name, to be honest. He was like pretty horrendous.
He's bloody good in the Brazilian league.
I'm sure he is, yeah. He left halfway through, was transferred for Everton. Everton pretty horrendous as well, even though he played in the league before. Yeah, I mean, like you look at Suwon, had was it Fabio or something? Like I can't remember his name. Who put it on? I mean, Santos was a good player. Santos was a good signing. Little dwarf, but he scored goals. Fagner, I believe at John Book as well. So I mean, it's been Brazilians who have made it and who haven't made it.
It's always been a mixed bag. It's always been a mixed bag. But and when you look at it, there's not a hell of a lot of strikers in the K-League that you think they're going to score 20 goals a season. Probably Kevin is the one that you're thinking he could actually make a difference to Incheon. That's maybe the difference between bottom six and top six.
Yeah, I think
same Chunam last
he's
year.
lost a lot of the supporting players, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, but even so, somebody who's got an eye for goal in the K-League, they've probably got a chance to do it. I mean, you look at Stevi Karistic last year, scored a lot of goals for Chunam, with probably not a hell of a lot around him in terms of creating chances.
Exactly, yeah.
If you've got somebody who's actually a goal scorer, you can probably fake the rest of it a little bit. So what they lack is a goal scorer. You've got guys who can do all the fancy stuff in midfield. You've got guys who can chase the ball, but what you don't have is somebody who's actually going to score goals for you.
Right. I mean, a lot of people were saying when Kevin was looking to come back to the K-League, Seoul should have been well in there, try and sign Kevin. But no, they couldn't get rid of any of their existing foreigners. Obviously, Osmar probably wanted to keep, but Everton, nobody would have been too sad to see him go. Escudero obviously is gone now, and a lot of people are saying, well, yeah, that's good to see him go, even though he's the Asian player. Molina, he's been a good servant of Seoul. He's done his part in the past, but
I would agree, yeah.
As time goes by, his performance is decreasing.
As is his, I think Molina's biggest problem has been I think his motivation is decreasing. I think Molina wants to go home. I think he wants to go back to Colombia. He wants to get that move that no one is actually willing to actually make because no one remembers him because he's been in Korea.
Not even that. It's like
long.
In Korea, he can earn X amount of dollars. He wants to go back to. He wants to go back to Colombia, but he doesn't want to accept the relative pay cut that's going to come with a move back to Colombia.
I agree.
But I mean, there's a few guys like that in the K-League where you think these guys have been good players in the past, but they've kind of just, for whatever reason, they've stagnated.
Yeah.
If you look at Server Jeparov, 5-6 years ago, you'd say he's one of the best players in Asia. His spell at Songnam, he's really done nothing. And he's signed for Ulsan now, and you kind of think, Ulsan, what are they doing spending money on that guy?
Even when Jeparov was at Seoul, right, and they sold him to somewhere in the Middle East for a couple of $1 million, I thought that was a very good sale.
It's a good sale, yeah.
Because he was okay at Seoul, but he wasn't brilliant. And even with Molina, I just think he's done okay. And you maybe say, well, Molina with Dejan's a good combination because Molina can bang them in, but Molina can set up the chances.
Yeah.
Dejan can bang them in. And now Dejan's gone. Well, you've got Kim whatever who's going to not bang them in. And is that Molina's problem or is that the striker's problem? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but for sure, once Dejan left, Molina turned out to be.
I mean, I think it comes down to where you're going to spend your money, and I think for most K-League teams, where they need to spend their money is they need to sign a striker that can score goals. You look at the Korean national team; they don't have a striker.
Yeah,
you've got Kim Shin-wook is probably the closest thing to a striker who's a bit off the boil right now. You've got nobody else. There's always talk about Park Ji-young coming back to the K-League, and I think, you know, they're always talking about Seoul, but I think he's a bit of a busted flush in Korea now. Park Ji-young, he's certainly not that popular amongst the fans, given the World Cup performance.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think within 2 or 3 weeks we might be talking about Park Ji-young signing for FC Seoul, and
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know, but
He might be
I think
signing
one
for
thing we haven't
Incheon.
talked about. I think one thing we haven't talked about as well, because it happened so long ago, was Andre Moritz signing for Pohang. I mean, guy played in the Premiership, in the English
Yeah.
Premiership. Can he repeat the form that got him that move? Can he? I mean, is he half the player, the same player he was back then?
he's not been playing for the last 6 months, right? So he's
Yeah, he hasn't
he's gonna
played
be-
for a long
He's
time.
going to be a bit rusty to start with, you
Well,
assume.
I think he put in the Indian Premier League, I believe, could be the equivalent of not playing at all, to be honest. But I think I mean, Pohang spent 2 seasons as the non-foreigner team. It worked first year, disastrous second year. I'll be interested to see if they can turn things around. I mean, people are quoting Pohang as a potential second. I personally don't think so. I think Pohang will be mid-table.
So who do you think is going to finish second to Seoul?
I think second to Seoul,
Second, well, is that
According to Paul.
Is that seventh in real counting?
but I think second
Right.
to whoever wins the league will be Suwon. I think Suwon have a strong
Well,
team.
that was an interesting thing though about Pohang is what do you think was it? I mean, they went 2 seasons, they did really well without having any foreigners, and then suddenly they decided we're going to sign foreigners again. Was it just an agent with a brown
They
envelope?
did 1 year well. They didn't do 2 years well. The first year they did
The
well.
first year, the reason they did well was because they played for like 95 minutes each game. And they got so many points in the last minute or two, time added on of each game, because they kept going as a team past the 90 minutes. And last year, for whatever reason, that didn't work.
Well, last year they were just terrible, to be honest. Like, I mean, last year, like, they played well up until the World Cup.
Yeah.
After the World Cup, they just disintegrated. They just fell apart. I mean, it's like, the last day of the season. I mean, like, they were. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong with the actual numbers here, but they were 1-0 up against Suwon
Yeah.
with like 5 minutes to go, and like the third place was secured, and they lost 2-1. I mean, how do you lose 2 goals in 5 minutes? It's like, that's a team that has no confidence. It's a team whose coach doesn't inspire any form of motivational qualities, any form of confidence at all. And I think Pohang themselves, no matter who they sign, will never be the team that they were
So-
2 years ago.
So the question is then, signing a foreign guy who looks like a Boyzone reject, is he going to be the answer to them?
I mean, I would say a guy that looks like a snake from the Guns N' Roses reject, to be honest, before I was saying them when it was a Poison one.
Well, what I'm most curious about, right, is you sign a random foreigner. Is he going to be happier living in Seoul, or is he going to be happier living in Pohang, Ulsan, or wherever? Ultimately, you have to assume that whatever random foreigner you sign is going to be happier living in Seoul, where there's
I mean-
slightly more cosmopolitan.
I think
And
that
that's
okay.
why all the good players should be signing for Seoul.
I mean that's an argument that's like.
That's why Messi and Ronaldo will be signing for Seoul in the next 2 years.
Okay.
Surely.
I mean, that argument has potential until the fact that you look at some of the best foreigners in Korea who have actually lived outside of Seoul. Santos last year, top goal scorer.
Oh, wait. Suwon's very commutable from Seoul, though.
So we're talking about being close to Seoul.
Close to Seoul.
Gaio, Leonardo, Droguero.
If Kaya was any good, he'd still be at Chonbuk this year.
What about Droguero?
And this is the kind of playground
Jeju.
banter that you can expect from the podcast.
I mean, the Droguero, Jeju, like, if it wasn't for Droguero, Jeju would have finished last.
I thought you go to more Seoul games than you don't go to. Why are you disagreeing with me?
I am.
I think, guys,
I'm the Killy Core man.
I think at the end of the day, the only thing that really matters to most of the foreigners is who's signing their cheque at the end of the day and how big it is. If they can get a bigger cheque at Pohang, they'll be in Pohang.
Obviously, we've talked about last week's games. We've talked about the uniforms. We're talking about the Castaways too. But this week actually sees the beginning and the start of the K-League Classic. There's a lot of big games ahead. There's a lot of big weekends ahead. There's a lot of fans. So let's have a look at seeing where we're going to go. I personally, I'm going to go to Suwon. But Paul, where are you going this weekend? Are you going to go to see Ulsan or what are you doing?
Personally, I've been to about 80-90% of FC Seoul games in the last 3 years, so I'll definitely be away in Ulsan for FC Seoul's game in Ulsan.
Oh, really? So, Paul, what do you think? Do you think Ulsan will get a draw? You think Seoul get a draw? You think Seoul get the victory? I mean, after yesterday's Champions League game, what do you think? You think Seoul are prepared for this game? What do you think?
Last year, I went to Ulsan twice. I saw 1 loss, 1 win. So I've not seen much difference between last year's Seoul and this year's Seoul. So it depends on how Ulsan come out of the blocks, I think. In the first game, we played them early on in the season, they won. Played them later on in the season, they were absolutely horrendous and they lost. So it depends which Ulsan come out of the blocks, I think.
Okay. And so you think this year maybe you can place yourself like definitely so. I mean, you think Seoul will finish first, but you think this is an important game or just one of those games?
I think, well, in the last couple of years, Seoul have been slow starters, right? They've not really turned it on until 2 months into the season. But as I discussed earlier, this year it's written in the stars that Seoul are going to win the league because they finished third last year. So it doesn't really matter how this first match goes. They're going to win the league.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Ulsan 3, Seoul 0. That's the official prediction.
That's what I reckon as well. Yeah. Okay.
It doesn't matter. Seoul is still going to win the league because that's the way it's going to turn out.
Well, hopefully for all you Seoul fans, yeah. Steve, like, how about you this weekend? Are you going to go to that game? Are you going to like K3, K2, K1?
Well,
and K2's not started, so.
obviously the big league hasn't started yet. The K-League Challenge is not starting for
Of
another
course,
couple of weeks,
Iran,
so
they're still training in America somewhere.
I couldn't get a flight to Carolina for the weekend. So.
You tried, yeah.
Oh, absolutely, but I'll have to find a game to go to. So I think Saturday, though the K-League Classic games this weekend are not that fantastic. I think Saturday probably be Paju to go and see a K3 game. Go up in the border and see what happens near to the North Koreans. See if there's any interlopers trying to get in and maybe get a game for Paju now that they're allowing foreigners in the league. Other than that, well, Sunday, probably the biggest game in the K-League Classic this weekend is Suwon Pohang, so that looks like the one that you'd want to be at if you weren't an FC Seoul fan. So what about yourself? Are you going to a game?
I think probably this weekend I have 2 choices. I think like the opening game on Saturday is Encheon v Gwangju, but I'm kind of not really probably going to that game. The next game on Sunday is, as Stevie said, is Suwon Pohang. I think that could be a kind of all-scoring, all-action game. 0-0 draw, probably, yeah. So I'll probably attend Suwon Pohang. It's kind of
We're going to be interviewing for a third podcast for next week. If you've got better credentials than Mark, then please.
If you don't
send us an
support
email.
FC Seoul, please send your email to
Yep, guys.
48 Shades of Football at gmail.com.
This has been it. This has been the first podcast. Hope you enjoyed it, all 2 of you. And yeah, it's been interesting for us, interesting for you, and I guess our Twitter account is K-League_podcast. Please follow us there if you're interested in K-League podcasts. And thank you very much. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we kind of did doing it. And we'll see you guys all next week.